Sorry, I was carrying on about Beau Brummell. My phone just cut out halfway through. Anyway, so then his regiment was due to be posted to Manchester, and he thought that the great city of the north was decidedly lacking in refinement, so he resigned his commission rather than suffer the unspeakable indignity of being posted to northern England. So he's quite prejudiced, very much a southerner within England. And then he just hung around being fashionable most of his time. So he'd really hit London society in a big way. So far as I know, he never wed, though he was quite a ladies' man. So London was much, much smaller. We're in the St James's area, very close to St James's Palace. The area takes its name from St James's Church, and St James's Palace, but and that's the official residence of the British royal family, St James's Palace, not Buckingham Palace, which is across the road from it. Anyway, so Brummell, he got to know the Prince Regent, the future George IV, and he had a bit of a falling out with George IV. And one time, when he bumped into Mildmay and Alvanny at a club, he said, "Who is your fat friend?" as in referring to the Prince Regent, the future George IV. Well, George IV never forgave him, because Brummell had cut him in the expression of the time. We'd now like say blanked him, froze him out, pretended not to know him. So he was well known, perhaps notorious for his bon mots, many of which are still remembered today because he was such a waspish wit, saying to a duke, I think the Duke of Bedford, "You call this thing a coat?" But he'd alienated too many people, and then he'd frittered away his money on clothes. So he was rather superficial, a bit vain, certainly proud of himself. And he moved to France shortly after the end of the Napoleonic Wars, and he died there in penury at Asile Le Bon Sauveur at Caen, which is very northern France, well, Normandy, quite close to the coast. So he died at the age of 60, and I think he is laid to rest there, but that is Beau Brummell. So because he was a style icon, they put this up here in Jermyn Street, where you can get the best suits, shirts and so on. That is Beau Brummell. So he really, to some extent, sartorially invented British understatement. You see these silk dressing gowns, and what else is there? Yeah, look at these suits here. What do you think? About to show you in a minute in this arcade, new in Linkwood. You'll find it on Oxford, not Oxford, sorry, on Eton High Street. I think you find it in Oxford as well. So new in Linkwood is the name of this gentleman's outfitter, and the other one. So you see some of the suits they got in the window. They're holding themselves old Etonian ties and cufflinks and so on. Yeah. So, for example, I don't fancy those shoes there under the grey trousers. They're a bit too shiny, a bit too disgusting, the kind of thing that Beau Brummell wouldn't approve of, because he'd say that's loud. You shouldn't be too ostentatious. Very stylish, but not over the top. Something that's too blatant is actually distasteful. So avoiding the vulgarity of showing off too much. Anyway, that's enough for Beau Brummell. I'm very sorry that it didn't cut out halfway through. I don't feel like redoing the whole thing. If it goes over 8 minutes, I can monetize it. So, how can I stretch it out to do 8 minutes? I walked up and down this street before, showing you Jermyn Street. It's spelled Jermyn, but German as in the people of Germany. So uniquely spelled like this. I did know a solicitor in Cork who was German, spelled the same way. All right, I think that's enough from Beau Brummell. You can see him in profile now. This was unveiled by the Duke of Kent, who's the Queen's cousin, in 2002. So please donate to me on PayPal. It's georgecallahan79@gmail.com. That's all small letters. Callahan spelled Callaghan. So no donation is too large, or indeed too small. And book me for online lessons in history, politics, religious studies, French citizenship, English language, English literature, English as a foreign language, and so on. Interview practice, whether it's for school interviews, university interviews, job interviews. And I edit documents. I help people with theses, dissertations, essays, and so forth. I'm a tour guide in Londinium whenever we get tourism back, perhaps sometime this millennium. All right, toodle pip.